Focus on your inner work. July 28, 2014. The best advice we can give any earthly seeker is not to take yourselves or your existence too seriously, and there's nothing wrong with lightening up and enjoying your existence instead of feeling like you have to endlessly strive to do the things you're on the earth to do. You're on your planet to do a lot of wonderful and miraculous things, but you won't be able to do them if you're stuck in a staunch or rigid frame of mind that keeps you from finding and acting on your creativity. What many see as creativity is creative energy that lives in the minds and hearts of every earthly soul. You can each access your creativity and use it for a wealth of helpful purposes, and when you realize that you're creative beings by nature who are intended to use your natural creativity for purposes that are helpful to the planet around you, your motivation to do just that will be turned up to new heights, and you'll find that you naturally work harder than you did before. You'll work harder because you'll feel inspired to offer all of yourselves to your planet's restoration and evolution, and when it's realized just how important the efforts of each of you are to the restoration of your planet, we can envision all of humanity happily starting your work. Embody love and joy. Most of humanity, and even much of the conscious public, takes your existence far more seriously than it needs to be taken. Yes, a lot of awful things have and continue to happen on your planet every day, but this gives you even more incentive to embody as much love and joy as your expanding physical etheric bodies can shelter. With all of the bad in the world, all of the hatred and destruction, why not embody and shine your light more than you would have ever thought possible? Why not expand your limits and see how much good you can do in your world? How far you can shine your light, helping waves of others uplift themselves in the process. We note that it's very difficult for some seekers to believe you can affect your planet more strongly by living and embodying a constant, loving vibration than by directly creating social change, but from our perspective, this is indeed true. You have a far greater ability to change your planet by changing yourselves than most of you have yet realized, and understanding this is the first step to raising your collective vibration with each kind, loving thought and act you emit. You constantly emit energy, emotions, information, etc., and in every moment, you communicate waves of complex personal expressions that ripple out to the rest of the universe. We're attuned to the thoughts and emotions of humanity, and in fact, the entire universe is. The entire universe is attuned to the frequencies being emitted from every conscious being within it, and this is one reason we and plenty of others have mentioned that all of humanity, and indeed, all of creation, is inexplicably one. We're all connected, and we can all sense each other's thoughts and emotions. Of course, we only tap into this innate knowing when necessary, as in the case of assisting you along your paths. And having been attuned to your energies and impressions for a very long time, we can say with absolute assurance that love is missing from your collective consciousness. Even many conscious seekers who know and empower certain ideas still lack a full-on perception of love, which will change everything about how they perceive their reality and introduce them to a universally blissful experience of life that'll completely transform their emotions and their ability to treat those around them with respect and compassion. The state of mind known as 0 point is only necessary to blank one's ego-driven perception, but beyond it lays a universe of love, bliss, and the most uplifted joy you would have ever expected to feel. Reclaim this frequency, dear ones. Understand the importance of opening your minds, but don't open your minds to the same old nothingness that tends to lead many of you to negativity and feelings of spiritual depletion. If you feel depleted of love, joy, or bliss, it's usually because you are depleted of them, and it isn't necessarily dualistic to seek them if you don't feel them. In fact, it's essential that you do, and after so much work is done to manually put yourselves on a loving vibration, you'll find that it naturally flows and you have no further difficulty feeling it. Energetic hangovers. Because of a host of different factors that affect you strongly, some of you are going to have days when you feel depleted of your natural light. When you're in the midst of a potent personal transformation, there are going to be energetic hangovers and similar feelings, especially in your morning time and afternoon, that you'll have to simply surf through the best you can, continuously reinforcing the joy and positivity you want to feel without blatantly denying any negativity that comes up to the surface for review and release, which, by this point, would be futile because this negativity will reach you one way or another. Any seeker who's worried that they'll feed too heavily into duality by manually seeking the uplifted feelings that your ascension is heralding, are encouraged to know that while these qualities can be seen as one side of the dualistic landscape, they also comprise reality in the realms you're growing toward. Love, joy, and bliss are constant factors of the higher dimensions, so why would blatantly seeking them be a form of dualism, and thus, something that constitutes lower dimensionality? From our perspective, it's very important that you seek these higher qualities, and, of course, it's equally important to seek balance. Balance and 0 point are very similar, and from your balanced space, you can then find and express a wealth of higher emotions that'll drastically raise your vibration and that of the people around you. You'll find that you're naturally much happier than before, and the people around you will note the change if you stick to it. Again, some days, you'll have to work extra hard to keep yourselves in an uplifted, or at the very least, balanced state, and because of the extent to which darkness and density thrive on your planet, some seekers tend to be nearly overtaken by the density and can find it very hard to reach the loving and creatively potent space they want to be in. You're increasing and expanding your ability to find the higher state of consciousness that's partially responsible for your potent creative works, but you're going to have to deal with that is transmute the dark and dense energies around you. This is one of the main reasons for the existence of many of you on the earth, to directly confront and transmute the darkest and most spiritually suffocating energies that have and continue to hold your collective consciousness back from the higher vibration you're starting to find. As you find it, you'll meet a lot of resistance from lower energies and thought forms who've thrived on the surface Earth for centuries, and in their eyes, what the conscious public is doing is very unusual and is something that should be eradicated. The light workers' energy is valuable. Because they've thrived for so long, they see the efforts of the conscious public as a challenge and a threat to their perceived reign, and they also thrive when they can drain a conscious seeker of their valuable light. This is especially true for those of you who've come to the earth to be light workers, which is a term to describe the work that's done in acting as conduits for higher dimensional energy to be expressed on the surface Earth, while, at the same time, transmuting the aforementioned dark energies that have plagued humanity for millennia. The incarnate light workers, starseeds, etc. are encouraged to create and reinforce a physical energetic veil of light protection, because the entities whose energy you're transmuting can and will attempt to pierce your greater perception and drain you of the energy you've come to the earth to use to do your work. In doing so, they gain an intoxicating high before needing more, purer energy to sustain their fix, and the souls whose energy they've drained are partially introduced to what life in the realm is like. This is because the entities drain these souls of their natural light, leaving them to feel empty and depleted of any light or any ability to find and remain in a lasting positive space. We've seen the effects these energetic vampires have had on even some of the strongest light workers, and we forever encourage you to keep yourselves away from their influence, which can be very subtle, and focus entirely on your inner work. You're creating a much greater amount of planetary change than we could hope to express, and as long as you can find and remain in a lasting, loving space, you'll find that all of the creative work you seek to do becomes easier, and your resulting motivation and inspiration to help the earth and its people ascend, is dialed up. A little love and joy can go a very long way, and the more effort you show in putting yourselves in a lively space, the purer of a vibration you'll carry within, and the further this vibration will ripple out to the people around you, affecting souls in other states and other countries who you would have never thought you'd be able to affect. Is it hard to believe that you're helping people in other countries and even on other planets with the things you're doing on the earth? How difficult is it for you to grasp the idea that your light knows no boundaries, no distance, and can reach anyone it's directed at? When you're back in the higher realms, you'll find that your light has always been able to travel anywhere it desires. The inner earth and disclosure. Before we make our final expressions for this communication, we'll mention something that's been on the mind of our scribe, and that is the recent conclusion from various scientists at Harvard that there could be an ancient Earth existing underneath your surface, in what's been referred to as the inner Earth. We'll say that there is indeed an ancient Earth as these souls defined it, and it contains advanced, crystal cities and beautiful landscapes with food and vegetation that are unlike anything most of humanity has ever seen. Dwelling within this inner Earth is an advanced society of souls that includes the Lemurians, who travel to the inner Earth preceding the destruction of Atlantis and Lemuria, which they foresaw. These souls wait for humanity to officially learn about their existence and connect with them, and they've spoken with quite a few people on your service through the centuries, in some cases, working with the people's higher selves to arrange that they find the inner Earth and speak with them so they could deliver imminent messages to humanity, such as the necessity to cease atomic warfare, and warfare in any other form. However difficult it might be to envision right now, there will be a time when your mainstream media seems to suddenly start reporting the truth about waves and waves of important subjects that humanity has been lied to about for centuries. When this time does come, it'll seem to come in the form of a complete changeover on the part of your mainstream media and many of your governments, and suddenly, truths and revelations will start spilling out at a faster pace than most of humanity will be able to handle. This fantastic series of events has been referred to as disclosure, and already, your mainstream media is being prepared for such a time with small bits of real, positive progressive news stories about various subjects ranging from the existence of your star family and the advanced craft they've flown on your planet for centuries, to the existence of the inner Earth and various other truths that'll undo the centuries of lies and deceit that have held your society back. We can foresee the release of an immense amount of advanced technologies that have been hidden from humanity, and full-on justice and accountability on the part of the souls who've suppressed these things and continuously lied to humanity, will be brought about in a higher way, in a way that honors the divine qualities. The Cabal, as they've been referred to, have a lot of hellish experiences to undergo after their charades on the earth are over, and many of them, especially the most active among them, will fully experience everything they've forced others to experience. Their life reviews won't be easy by any means, and the subsequent incarnations they make in lower realms will be equally difficult. They'll pay their karmic debts, however, just as they've forced so much of humanity to pay their orchestrated monetary debts. They'll witness everything they've made others witness, because this is the nature of karma, which, despite what some of the conscious public might think, doesn't judge. Karma simply sends back what one has given out, and we'll make our final expressions for this communication with the aforementioned encouragement to keep your heads held high, and orient to love and positivity at all times. You have a lot of clearing and transmutation work to do, so we'll never recommend suppressing any negativity that comes up, in favor of what had become a false light that would be used to mask the negativity. But when you find that you aren't in the midst of such clearings, open up and put yourselves in a positive frame of mind and heart, no matter what it takes. It's very important that you do, and the avalanche of truths and revelations so many of you have heard so much about depends on it. When the collective vibration has reached a certain purity, the disclosure-related events will be enabled to begin. So keep working as hard as you can to raise your vibration and that of humanity in preparation for the wonderful future you have the potential to create. Thank you to my higher self and spiritual guides. Channeled through Wes Anak. cultureofawareness.com